game at the power plant against Seward County. Now, the first time y'all played Independence, that was y'all's second game of the season back in November. Do you think that was kind of a little rough? I mean, having to play them the second game of the season. I mean, Independence is a good team, and you think it just didn't. And considering that y'all were trying to find y'all's identity at the time, do you think that just also didn't help either?
No, yeah, and that's why we play that game. It's a difficult game, and I think it's one that
more of a learning experience.
Absolutely, and that's really what the first semester is about.
Yeah.
It's to get you prepared for the conference season, and we're gonna have to going on the road right away, in conference, and so we've got to be ready to play and find a way to win that game. And so I felt like in scheduling it, we had played at the exact same place the year prior. It was a really hard-fought game. Our kids played really well, and we found a way to win. And I think it gave us a big springboard to the start of that season. And so that was the hopes, is that we're going to play a tough game like that in that environment and hopefully be able to come out with a win. But if we don't, we're still going to learn a great deal from it. And, I think it was a good thing for us to respond off of it and have to come back off of an embarrassing loss like that. And maybe a loss there might got us one or two more wins down the stretch.
Now, what was the feeling around the team going into the game against Independence the last time around?
I think guys were excited. I think, we were disappointed that we didn't get a home game. But you have an opportunity to completely go erase that 49-point victory by them and, have a chance to get back to Wichita. And so I think they felt like they had a chance to win that game, and the matchup was one that was not a bad one for us.
Yeah.
It wasn't great because in the postseason you're going to have to play good teams across the board, but sometimes you just don't match up very well. I think you probably look at the way we matched up with Seward, and it's just not a favorable matchup for us. And so we felt pretty good about our seeding and what we had to do. And, if we'd have just taken advantage of some things down the stretch of the game, it would have given us a chance to either put it in overtime or win it in regulation.
Now, Josh Gibbs missed a free throw close to the end of the game. He didn't make it, but of course people who were originally broadcasting that game thought it was a lane violation, but instead it wasn't. It was kind of crazy. What happened there? That he made the free throw, but they didn't count it?
There's a wire, and you can kind of see it on these highlights that sits right by the shot clock, and the ball bounced off the rim and hit the wire, and anytime that happens, it's a violation. If it goes over the backboard and makes contact with any of the baskets standard, that's a violation. And so that's what it was. Dennis had told me in the postgame that's what he had originally thought that it was, but that was just kind of the night that we had, and kind of the end of the season that we had, that the ball actually hits the wire and still goes in the basket.
Yeah.
It was the right call. We had no angst about what they did there, and it's just unfortunate that the ball got that high off the basket. So.
And Josh Gibbs had 17 points in that game to finish his career at Butler. Andre Ingram had 16 points, also finished his career at Butler. And Zach Bargen, a freshman, had 11 points in that game against Independence. And Coach, we're going to take a look at some of the top 5 plays now coming from this season. We've got our top 5 plays, and some of them coming against Hutchinson, and just kind of anxious to see here, but here we go. Here's our top 5 from the season, and number 5 is Lane Lindhorst, steal and a layup and foul, all against Pratt. This was the first time that Grizzlies played at Pratt this season. And then number 4, Josh Gibbs, assist to Andre Ingram in the Region 6 opening round at Independence. Number 3, Josh Gibbs again, oop-de-doop layup versus Garden City. And number 2, Zach Bargen, a 4-point play at Barton back at Great Bend back in January. Grizzlies won that game, 81-77. And number 1, well, it's not one play, it's a couple of plays. That was against the number 1 Hutchinson Blue Dragons back in January, in which the Grizzlies came away with an 81-80 upset. As you see, the Grizzlies' home record this year was 10-3, and their overall record was 17-14, and 7-9 in the Jayhawk Conference West. But Coach, you have some players that are going to be leaving. Of course, you have Josh Gibbs and Andre Ingram. Where are they thinking about heading to?
Right now is kind of the busy time of year for us because we're trying to recruit the new class of guys and making sure our guys move on to their next stop. And so both those guys have a lot of Division I interest. Some of them have offered already. Some of them are still planning on coming through to see them and bringing them on visits themselves. And so, there's a list of schools that they will have to choose from, and some will continue to grow as this thing plays out because you constantly get more and more schools involved when they lose other guys. 5 schools may be recruiting all the same guy and have him as their top priority, and they may miss, and so they're going to have somebody. So there may be some schools that we're not involved with right now that that will come into the picture a little bit later. So. I'm pretty confident in both of them. If they take care of what they need to do academically and graduate, both of them will be Division I players, probably at the mid-major level would be my guess.
All right, and what kind of players are y'all looking at in terms of recruiting for next season?
Oh, we got to have a lot of them. So we need to fill 10 roster spots, and we've got to definitely get some size. I mean, obviously we lose Andre, and we see what a guy with his capabilities can do for you. We definitely need to go get several point guards because we lose everything at that position. And then we need to kind of fill some holes with some athletes. We probably played without as much athleticism as we needed this year, and it really dictated what we could do in the style of play. And so that's kind of our major focuses are that, some size, some athletes, and a couple point guards. And then, we feel like we're in a really good spot with a lot of kids. In-state-wise, we've been on several kids. We're going to replace 6 of them this year. And, I think that here in the next couple weeks, we should know for sure whether we're going to get them or not. But feel really good about where we're at. And we've got some guys from all over the state. It'll be a great representation of the state and its talent. And we feel like there are a lot of guys that are going to be very, very good college players, hopefully here at Butler.
Now it's time for the next segment of this episode. We got a special one coming up. We got celebrity looks-alikes right now, and you can see John Craig kind of looking just like Christian Slater there.
Yeah.
Kind of a small world there. Steve Donahue, similar to Chris Cornell, a singer for Sounding Gardens band.
I'm guessing that's based on the hair.
Yeah. Mike Helmer and Jeff Van Gundy looking similar to Jeff Van Gundy. But getting back to Coach Donahue, though, I'm kind of surprised they didn't compare him to Mike Gundy, because I'm sure both coaches use a lot of hair gel.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So.
But Coach Mike, they think you look similar to Michael Phelps. Well, both you guys have competed internationally. There is a similarity there.
Sure.
You've competed in Iceland in the basketball league there for a little bit, and Michael Phelps, he's obviously done a lot of international work, of course, and gone on the Olympics too. So,
sure.
But getting back to our final question of the day, you said a lot of height is going to be a kind of an issue for next season, and as point guards. But with all that to consider, do y'all have a ton of rebuilding to do for next year, or would it be kind of similar to what y'all had to go through prior to this year?
Well, I think when you look at this year and the number of sophomores that we had in our program, that makes a big difference on guys just understanding what you do and how you do things. And so, only having 5 guys back, that's enough. But guys have to step up into bigger roles. And I thought Josh and Andre were ready to do that. I thought if we would have been allowed to play Brandon in his more natural position, he probably would have done more of that, even though I think he had a great sophomore year and really gave himself up for the team to play a position that wasn't necessarily his most natural. We'll heavily depend on those freshmen coming in, though. I mean,
yeah.
I would guess that the 5 that we have returning are probably not all going to be starters. So that means there are going to be some freshmen that are going to come into some bigger roles. And obviously from the point guard side of things, that's a big opening that we need to fill, and hopefully we can find a guy that can step in and be a great player.
Well, Coach, it's been great talking with you during the Coach Bargen Show this season, and we hope to join with you again next year. And we just want to say thanks for joining with us this season. It's been a great season, and we wish you all the very best of luck next season.
I appreciate it, Michael. It's been fun for me, too.
And we thank you all for joining in here on BCTV Channel 20 to join to watch the Coach Mike Bargen Show, and we will be back next year.